Alles klar. Yeah, hi and welcome. My name is Florian, and together with my colleagues Leon and Christoph, we are going to present you our work from our last semester, which took place in Hamina in Finland. It's a city at the coast, but we will talk about that a bit more later. And I'm going to start a bit with the introduction to you. And we're very, very, very pleased to meet you all that you're here and very interested into our work. So first, we have to tell you that those slides, they are in Finnish. And I'm going to present this in English or we're going to present this in English because we cannot speak very Finnish. But so take that in mind when it takes a little bit in my brain to think what the words again mean, but I think we're getting to it. So first of all, we would like to talk about the context, and then later we talk about the strategy and the concept, and about and a big part in our work took also the participation aspect. And overall, we'd also talk about the methodology. So maybe let's start off with the context. We have here a short or more or less short, um, like a timeline where we started. We started here about our investigation area. We talked about, had made some researches, and we also had the context uh, of a competition, which we also won the first prize in Henningsdorf, as you can see here. And we are also very pleased to see that this work apparently was a success for us. We were going on with the pre-participation and the participation aspects where we filled out, or where we made some surveys and filled out to the students. And to that part, we also prepared the workshop preparation. And until here, we haven't been to Finland yet. So it's also to keep that in mind that in that time of period, we didn't actually know the place by heart, but we knew it from like GIS data and also from our surveys and also from pictures we have seen. But to that point where we arrived in August this year, we didn't really knew what the place would look like. And in some cases, we have been a bit surprised. And in other cases, we have been to some places where we confirmed our surveys in some places. Yeah, and afterwards we talked about the workshops and the workshop evaluation, and basically to divide this into chapters. This basically took part about, I think, 4 months, and this part on the right side took about, I think, 4 weeks. And in the after the results presentation and the submission of the competition entry, we also had done a little bit of after work, which is also this presentation here. So to talk about the place which we um, had in our mind, we talk about Finland and we talk about Hamina as a city in the context of the kickoff in the competition in Henningsdorf. We actually had two things to keep in mind of. And the first thing was the inner city of cities. So it's not the whole city in like the also the outside districts, but to keep on the inner city. And the second aspect was the focus on young people. And this was also the reason why we also took place, or we also had made this outline, because we thought this actually would be the inner city of Hamina. Maybe some people here in Finland would confirm or didn't confirm that this is actually the inner city. But we also talked about later that to keep that in mind, that the context was young people and inner city. So I'm going to continue a bit about our methodology. And basically, we started off with our places which we visited. So this point here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this first part is actually the places which we saw and which we also visited and um, visited a few times. The second part was also the pre-participation here. And the third part was the participation which we had there. So the pre-participation was the aspect of the surveys which we already filled out in Germany, and we also um, had discovered a few places here, the Paika, I hope that's pronounced right, um, which were confirmed or not confirmed as places which we need to see. And the third part was the participation with the schools, with the people. And I hope maybe someone of you is there and can remember what they took place and how did the aspects work. So to these three aspects of the visiting of those places, the pre-participation and also the participation in the place in Hamina, in those schools, we discovered a few places. And according to that, those places needed to be analyzed. We used a SWOT analysis. For those who are in university context, this is very common. We discovered the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats of those places. And we discovered that in this kind of context, there are places, which you can see on the right side now, which are mainly focused on urban planning aspects, places which are more focused on young people aspects, and places which we first discovered or maybe thought that they would need development in a urban design context. But as we visited those places and also uh, asked the people who use those places, we discovered that maybe there are places which actually don't need to be changed at all. So we have discovered that there are places for urban planning aspects and for young people, especially, and also places which we don't really consider in this context anymore. So we are going to focus on those two places which are mainly focused on urban planning aspects and the second part of the young people. You can see here that the more or less brown places are more places which need to be developed in our context, which we think of urban planning aspects. And there are also places, for example, the school or the active complex, which my colleagues will continue afterwards to talk about, which are more focused on the young people. So to those places, we developed, uh, how would you say, a strategy, more or less, which we thought about different aspects, for example, here on the first place, which are related to mobility, which are related to visibility, or in German it's Wahrnehmung, and mobility, and die Bestandsqualifizierung in English, it would be the improvement of those aspects which are already there, and the aspect of multifunctionality or multi-use of those places. Actually, it was a turnaround when we developed this strategy, because we already saw the places and thought, we could improve the mobility aspect here. The people need to more, for example, need more road safety. And then we discovered, okay, then maybe we also have another aspect, for example, like green infrastructure. So as we saw this on the right side, there are a lot of things which we thought about, and we can categorize these into those four aspects, which also, for example, here the safe street, uh, those safest streets here, which definitely are an aspect for visibility, but are 100% an aspect for mobility. So what I'm trying to say is that we're having a lot of things which we could do, which are categorized in different aspects. And this led all in all to our bigger strategy. So there are a few points where, for example, the mobility aspect is way more important than here. And for example, here in another place, the visibility aspect was way more important than here. So as you can see, we kind of combined the places which we discovered in our pre-participation and participation and our SWOT analysis, as well with the aspects of our methodology and our big strategy, which are more or less translated to these places in a uh, sorry, concrete, concrete is very German, in the, yeah, how would you say, in
More
a
fixed.
specific way to those places. So, but to speed up this a little, I would also like to pay more attention to our most important aspect, which I would say to our work, which is the participation aspect. You can see here a few insights of our participation, which we took part in Finland with those uh, school with two school classes. I believe it was about, I think, 70 people all in all, plus those people from the youth parliament. Um, and in our method, we use different aspects, for example, for cards and to write down what they think about, but also which you can see here. These are the flags, where basically they could just write on the flags what they think about the place, what they think about the place in a winter context, what they think about the place in a summer context, what needs to be improved, what is maybe already pretty good there. And as you can see here on the right side, there have been a lot of creative um, s- uh, s- pupils, and we were very, very grateful to see that the participation aspect actually influenced our work a lot. So, according to the participation, there have been four main aspects of the aspect uh, of our concept, which were more or less the most important things to keep in mind on. This is the road safety on the upper right. On the just below there, you have those um, offers which for young people are not really necessarily there. This is like you would translate this in German to fehlende Angebote for Jugendliche. So fehlende Angebote for Jugendliche, or it's missing offers for young people. But we also discovered there have been some places which are already good, but not really seen. So you would translate this in German to versteckte Orte, or more or less hidden places, which you can see here. And also a big aspect which we really don't pay attention in Germany at all. But in Finland, the context of the winter and the summer aspect is way more important. I don't know where you are right now, but we are currently having here 4 degrees Celsius. And I believe in Finland, it's way more colder, and it's going to be way more colder um, in the future days. So the aspect of warm places have been talked about a lot. So we saw here a few voices which which we also kept in mind to that. Then here a few voices to the road safety. There are actually aspects which are kind of, I wouldn't say dramatic, but for example, here one pupil wrote that the brother got hit by a car. So actually, this place is needs to be improved in road safety a lot. And the another aspect is about the hidden places. So there have been places like, for example, the Moppetupa, which we also talk about later, which a lot of people didn't really knew, but a few little groups of young people, they knew where to go. And the last aspect was the missing offers, that there's actually maybe places which are pretty good in the summer, but nothing to do in the winter, and also places which may be suited for those people, but are kind of, as we can see here, boring, or there's actually nothing to do in those places. And we have to keep that in mind, that maybe this um, aspects or these flags are written by young people. So maybe places which are good in context of urban planning for older people or for adolescents, maybe not good for younger people, and but are pretty fine for adults. So to keep this all wrapped up, we're going to continue to our concept. And we can mainly say that if we making a short wrap up to that, that there are a few places which we discovered in our urban design, which are maybe suited for young people, or we thought they may be suited and good for young people, but which are actually not approved by the young people. So there are places where young people actually use, so there are places where young people use those places, but there are also places which young people don't really use. And the aspect of, if you remember what I said first, that the inner city, that we focused on the inner city, didn't really turn out. So we maybe thought about the inner circle here of Hamina, and also thought about the inner city, which is most of the time connected to shopping or maybe restaurants. But young people, they don't really pay that much attention, or don't really take their time at those places. But more, there are more places, for example, here in the north, which are taking sport aspects, which are way more important for younger people than like a specific store for clothing in the inner city. So what I'm trying to say is that the aspect of the inner city and young people is not really actually matching together. And we discovered that a lot of places which are used by the young people or actually need to be improved are not necessarily in the inner city. And to the aspect of winter, we also discovered that some places actually are there, but not really necessarily used at this time of the moment. So we also paid attention to our strategy to the point of the Wahrnehmung of the visibility. So those places need to be improved in the visibility. And in the winter aspects, especially warm places and protected places needs to be improved. So this all translated maybe to our methodology and to our urban design Gestaltungsplan in German, you would say. Um, you can find those aspects. So the aspects which we thought about our methodology at first are translated into our concept and later on into our urban design. And as I said, most of the you can basically define those places into young people places or more or less people or more or less places for young people, which we thought and actually needs to be improved, and more or less places which are more of an urban context, of an urban planning context, which are not necessarily suited specifically for young people. So yeah.
Thank you, Florian. I'm going to take over here. Having a bit more detailed view on our conception. As Florian already said, we focused and divided the two seasons of summer and winter because we perceive that there are very different uses uh, during the different seasons. So we're going to start with our so-called active complex in the north of the inner city, which is along the old Bastioni, which is one of the old city walls. And it is one of an X that you could say, where you can do several sports. You have several sport facilities. You have a soccer pitch, a baseball pitch, and some variety of sports like athletics. As you can see on the next picture, um, it was a big part of our participation, or we perceived it so, because these areas are already they already provide lots of opportunities, but they kind of lacked in their quality and maintenance. So what our conception was about, it was to implement and yeah, strengthen the already existing structures by setting up new and modern sport facilities, especially at that old tennis court during the summer, turning into a multifunctional court where you can do several sports in the same time, and transform it in the winter to a ice hockey or um, ski slope and ice skiing pitch. The only thing that we thought about as well, and we were surprised that people even do sports at minus 20 degrees in winter. The problem is doing these sports during those cold temperatures is that you need some facilities to warm up, to put your stuff, to have a drink, to meet your friends, and not being cold all the time. So this is how we came up with the idea of the so-called domes, which are kind of like small igloos that you can see on the left side of the picture. So we thought about a complete connected concept of several so-called domes to spread and share around the city at the places where sports and meeting points could be implemented. Um, the idea is to set up three different sizes of these domes, starting with the S size, which is kind of a micro pavilion system, which just offers to warm up, to sit, to meet friends, to maybe charge your phone or just use like toilet facilities. The medium size one is a bit larger and also adds lockers and maybe drink and snack machines where you can just extend your time staying and have enough opportunities to use it while doing your sports. And the biggest form would be the L version, which also adds a little cafe or bistro, or maybe in the summer, some outdoor furnitures to even sit. The interesting part about that concept is that we thought about to that it needs to be implemented with the community and with the people who will use it and who would maybe also run it to gain exception, to gain awareness that these facilities need to be taken care about it, that they need to be maintained. So all of these micro pavilions should be started and created with the people who already use and are going to use their places, and maybe also um, be run by those people. Coming to the next part of our master plan, youth, which is along the soccer pitch between the schools that we visited. As you can see on the coming photos, it is kind of an old soccer pitch with a big lack of equipment and youth. Um, so yeah, it is more like a brownfield than an actual sport area at the moment. So our idea was to implement a more usable, like multifunctional use of this area to implement two buildings on the left and the right side, which can be used as a place to warm up in the winter, like a warm break in the winter during school time or even after to learn to just meet friends, but also do your sports and be in short time range of the schools. The last one I want to present you is the Hamina campus, which is closed and connected to the, the soccer pitch that we talked about. Um, Because the problem was at the schools that the students don't really have a real schoolyard or like facilities where they can meet, where they can share their break together and even warm up in winter or just spend time in summer on some green spaces. So you have a lot of potentials and free spaces that are dominant by cars and parking, but don't serve any like quality to spend your time and meet friends, for example. So we discovered that there are like potentials on the roofs of the school and parts of the parking lot that could be transformed. That if you add another level to one of the schools, for example, you could add an area where people can warm up, where people can get together, but also on the parking lot where people have opportunities to do their sports close connected to school, so that leisure and sports can be connected to the yeah, to the morning routines of going to school. Um, with this, I would like to hand over to Chris for the next places.
Thank you, Leon, and thank you, Flo, for presenting. I'm going to continue with Hamina Connect. Hamina Connect is located at the western part of the city, right between the city park and the harbor, and it serves as Hamina's regional gateway and landmark, essentially the first impression visitors get when they arrive by bus. At the moment, the area is mostly a sealed surface with a very low quality of public space, which you can also see in this photo. And our plan is to transform this into a multi-coded public space. We will unseal the northern park area, and then we will develop a mobility hub that offers several functions, such as EV charging, sheltered waiting areas, and improved bicycle facilities. And the idea is to create a well-connected point where different modes of mobility come together. Additionally, we are proposing a permanent drive-in cinema on a currently unused sealed surface, and this provides a new cultural activity while it ensures that the bus traffic remains fully uninterrupted. Moving on to the town hall. The town hall forms the center of the historic city core, surrounded by attractive historic facades, especially at ground floor level. However, in the picture, you can see the current street layout is still dominated by cars, parking, and maneuvering areas, which are oversized. And through participation, we've learned that many cyclists feel unsafe, mainly because of long and poorly visible crossings or crossing distances, which are particularly dangerous during winter. And our concept prioritizes pedestrians and cyclists and aims to significantly improve the quality of stay. So we propose a green recreational belt around the town hall and a multifunctional strip. In the summer, this strip can be used for outdoor dining, for deliveries and parking. And in winter, it becomes a space for themed markets. And also during the winter season, bike lanes will temporarily be transformed into a kick sled track, as we learned that is a thing in Finland, I guess. Traffic safety will improve also through shorter crossings and a clearer street layout. And in addition, special winter lighting will enhance visibility and safety, and an extra snowfield will help manage harsh weather conditions. Moving on to Skate, Chill and Ride. This area is located directly at the skate park and right by the harbor. The skate park currently has no roof, and there is even a rope for jumping into the water, shows the which shows the informal way young people already use this space. And the site has a strong potential, particularly because it's already a popular youth meeting point, even though it is currently mostly used as the parking area. We want to create a controlled and appealing environment for the local moped scene, helping to reduce noise and dirt issues in the city center. Therefore, we want a warm and sheltered space, the dome, will, which will ensure that young people can use the area even during winter. And a graffiti wall will serve both as a noise barrier and a space for youth expression and identity. We also keep the existing parking area to preserve the current usage, and there's also an important restaurant next to the site, which will benefit from an extended pier for more seating and public space. And the currently unused ship nearby will be activated as both a sauna and a party boat, adding to a unique attraction to the harbor area. Moving on to the seaside spot. It is located in the southern part of the city, directly at the water. And As we were in Hamina, we have seen the 100-meter flagpole, which is a striking landmark that dominates the area pretty much everywhere you are, even in the city. And currently, the space suffers from misplaced furniture that doesn't help define the site. And during the participation process, we learned that the existing table tennis tables are barely noticed, and many people didn't even know they were there. Our proposal includes a year-round floating sauna, which adds a strong recreational attraction. And around the flagpole, we plan covered areas and a garden-like layout with a walking path and seating zones to significantly enhance the quality of stay. We also aim to establish a biological education center in the cooperation with schools and kindergartens. And the building will include interior rooms for learning and community activities, as well as storage spaces for bikes and mopeds. Moving on to our last space, we have the motor yard, which is located south of the market square along the north-south axis with a clear view towards the supermarket that is frequently visited by young people. The space has already been informally adopted by the youth, and it includes a sheltered interior area that has traditionally been a gathering place for the moped scene. And next to it stands a swimming pool building, which offers great potential for new users. Our concept preserves the moped scenes while expanding the area to include additional motorized groups. We plan to connect the space with the existing building next to the gas station and integrate the self-service station into the overall layout. And the old swimming pool will be repurposed as a flexible opportunity space for young people. And we are also adding indoor rooms for winter use and an exhibition zone in the south where motorbikes and other vehicles can be presented. Finishing that, as we want to say, the youth had spoken, we have done a concept, and now it's the turn of you, I guess, to realize those concepts or part of those concepts. We would be very pleased if this would be possible, and we would like to thank you for your attention. And yes.